Masandawana, we are back with yet another installment of the Yellow Corner, and this time we bring you the preview of the Nedbank Cup quarterfinal as we travel to Cape Town to take on Stellenbosch on Saturday at 1600 hours. Rapelang, how are you?
Besides being cold, I'm good as well.
I'm okay, man. Yeah. And I'm wearing a t-shirt, a jersey, Sundowns jersey. When are you wearing jersey more? How about the free starter? I say, I've got a free starter. Yeah, guys, apologies for by the time you see this, it will probably be midday Friday, and normally we have long dropped a preview. By then, we now drop actually very early, but we couldn't record on Thursday like we normally do, so we're recording on Friday morning very early. But yeah, apologies for that once again. Like I said, we're traveling to Cape Town to take on Stellies in the quarterfinal of the Nedbank Cup on Saturday. And yeah, perhaps let's get down to it. We've only scored one goal. Leona Nje goal in the last three games. Are you worried about that going into a cup final match?
Remember, I told you that my worry not okay. My worry was not scoring goals, and also my worry was about the body language and the hunger that our player were displaying before our previous game against we kind against Golden Arrows. But in the second half of that game, I saw a different attitude. I saw a different body language, and the boys were really trying. You could see that they wanted to rectify what they've been displaying in our previous games before the Golden Arrows. But right now, I can see that I'm not worried like I was before the Golden Arrows game.
Okay, basically we needed to concede first for us to change our attitude towards the game. Yeah, but I loved how we played in the second half. Like you said, there was a lot of intensity. So hopefully we take that intensity from Tuesday into the Saturday game. Like we don't drop, we start at a very high intensity on Saturday. Raps, they normally play their games at the Danny Craven Stadium in Stellenbosch, but they've moved this one to Athlone Stadium. Obviously, the two pitches are different, and one is spacious, and then the Danny Craven one is a bit more compact. Do you think this makes it different? Because I think so. I think it makes a huge difference, actually. A good difference for both teams, because I think because of how open and wide Athlone is, it gives them more room to do what they do best, which is having their forwards run behind the defense. Ne? So I think this will suit them. Ne? But at the same time, I also think it will suit us because, like I said, the pitch is wide, so it gives us more room to make the pitch big and make the passing lanes. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, now honestly, I never liked that stadium, Athlone Stadium, like since the Daystar Ajax Cape Town. But I think taking the game to Athlone, I think it will bring, it will have the goods and the bads. And I think the good will be the enough space for them to make runs. And remember the type of players they have up front, Mendieta and Reyners. Those are pacey players, and they are always looking for the space behind the defense. But for them also, the bet will be there will be spaces in the middle field because of the pitch is big, and it will be difficult for them to close those spaces. Unlike in Stellenbosch, where they normally play, I think it helps them to shut down spaces and to shut down players more quickly because of the distance they cover. It is not as much as the distance they will cover go Athlone because of the size of the pitch.
Mm-hmm. We recently played them in the DSTV Premiership. We drew 1-1. But in that game, we played a lot of our French players. also giving debuts to boys from the academy. Do you think had we played our strongest 11, would have beaten them?
Yeah, I know. I think we would have beaten them because of against them in the league. I think we went for something different, and you can see that the chemistry was not so well. But Bona they tried. But I think if we went for the regular starting lineup, I think we'd have got maximum points. But for the players that were not are not playing together, I think they did their best. They tried whatever they could. But I think a draw against them was not a bad result.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you, man. I fully agree with you. No, the guys they didn't do bad in that match, but if we played our strongest 11, would have beaten them. Let's talk about who you and me and I think, Corey, is their most dangerous player. They have quite a few good players, man, but I think the one player that stands out for me is a guy that was nicknamed Sereno Light when he first arrived. But at the moment, I think he's performing way better than Sereno in Mendieta, man. I think he's the most dangerous player. I think the the, the fact that he's given a free role, he's free to do anything, being whatever he wants in the pitch, and his work rate, his creativity, his skill, he's got it all, man. He's a very good forward. He scores goals, he makes assists. So he's a very good forward player, and I think he's their most dangerous player. Who for you? Who is it?
Yeah, no, I think for everyone, it will be Mendieta and Renas. But for me, I'll go for De Jong because of the role that he plays in the team. He makes those two shine. I think he creates spaces for those two. He creates goals for those two. So he plays an important role. I think his role I will also compare to ya Firmino ane Liverpool dlala front three Mane and Salah. I think Salah and Mane were able to shine because of the role that was given to Firmino. He made those players to shine. He created spaces for them. He created goals for them. So I think De Jong plays a huge role for those two players to be able to get in the score sheet and to find themselves creating chances for the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he's a very good player. To this day, I'm still surprised Royal AM let that guy go. And then, wait, did he start at Amazulu or Royal AM? But they both let him go. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really surprised by that, man. They come into this match with a few suspensions, and two of the three suspensions are very, very crucial players for them in Sage Stevens as well as their captain Van Rooyen. How big a miss do you think these guys will be? Because for now, I think this is they will be a huge miss for them. There was a point where Sage had lost form and he was giving away goals for fun, but he regained his form and became a crucial element of the team once again. But Van Rooyen will be an even bigger miss because of one, he's the leader of the team, he's the captain, and he's one of the best fullbacks in the country for Fonda because of his work rate down on the right defensively and offensively. And uh, having looked at how they played in the first game and how they targeted our right and how they overloaded it with him playing a very crucial role that I will talk about when I talk about their approach. I think he'll be a huge miss on them for them on Saturday. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and I think in the last games, I think Stevens had played very well. And in that game when we played them, go Stellenbosch, I think he was very brilliant. I think the saves that he made in the second half, I think we're able to win them a point. But who Van Rooyen, uh, because of he'll be absent in this game, I think Stellenbosch will be forced to play different because of he plays a key part in attacking. Like their build up sometimes start from the wide move Van Rooyen, and he's also a player that loves to push forward against TS Galaxy when they won 6-3. He was in the box and he managed to win them a penalty. So it shows what type of player he is, and it shows that what he brings to the team.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on to their approach, or what we think will be their approach on Saturday. I think they will continue from where they left off against us. I think they will high press us like they did in that match, and they'll also counter press us. I think their counter press was brilliant in that game that we played against them. And like I said, in that game, they targeted our right, which is our left, which is their right. They overloaded it. Their right, Van Rooyen, the left back, and Titus Van Rooyen, the right back, and Titus, the right forward. But in the first half, Mendieta was also in the right. And what they will do, Van Rooyen would drop towards the center line, forcing Mashiko to follow him. As Mashiko follows him, he will receive the ball not for Titus. Now he will receive the ball, played back to Van Rooyen, and then Mendieta will make a run behind Kimang Mashiko, and then that will be a third man run because Titus will play to Van Rooyen. Van Rooyen played behind Mashiko for Mendieta, who's making a third man run, and that was their most dangerous side. Apart from that, both Titus and Mendieta would go at Mashiko from that side. So they overloaded that side in that match, man. The one thing about this team is that they don't dilly-dally. They get the ball, they move forward. They don't have what we have at Sundowns, whereby at times we slow down the pace of the game, move the ball, circulate the ball, and until an opening, until we find an opening, we'll move it forward. But now they constantly on the attack. And like I said, I think Mendieta will have a free role. And yeah, because of the pitch, the size of the pitch, I think they will do what they do best, having Mendieta, Titus, and Reynas trying to run behind our defense. So they will play a lot of balls behind our defense. Your side?
Yeah, no, I think Van Rooyen being absent in this game, I think it will force them to kind of play differently, and obviously their build-up will be different compared to when Van Rooyen is playing. And you spoke about them pressing high and high pressing the opponents. I think it is because of in the middle field they have a young team, and when you have the young team, they bring energy in the middle field. Like they are very energetic. Hence, you see the aggression on the ball and without the ball. And I think, as much as we like to say the young boys they don't have experience, but they also offers a lot inside the pitch because of you look at the aggression that they have and the intensity that they play with, and that's why sometimes they are able to react quicker and to be always first on the ball because of they play with energetic players in the middle field. And I think the likes of Jabba, Titus, and Adams or Kimang Van Veek, those are midfielders that they kind of play in the center, but when the team is attacking, you find them making those late runs inside the box or just being closer to the 18 area there. And I think Stellenbosch, they're a team that can also play on transition because of they have quick players and they have intelligent players. And when I watch their game, they are one of, if not one, the teams that is able to create 1v1 or 2v2 situations in almost every game. I think that it was difficult for me to interpret how they do it, but most of the time you'll find that in attack, they have those 1v1 and 2v2s, more especially against Amazulu, where they won 2-0. I think the amount of chances that they created, I think they will also want to do that against Sundowns. And I spoke about the role that De Jong plays in this team. As much as he doesn't score, but he does a lot in terms of making those around him to shine. And obviously, Mediator will be a threat. And lately, he plays so good because of in tight spaces is able to play those 1-2-1. His goal against Royal AM, the first goal that he scored, I think the move started from him by going too deep and he pushed with the ball and he played that 1-2-1 that was able to where he was able to find himself 1v1 versus the goalkeeper. And I think against Sanders, it will be tough to create those 1-2-1, but I think they will push Sanders because of the type of players they have up front.
You keep saying something that I've never heard in football. 1-2-1. Last I checked, it's a 1-2, not 1-2-1.
One.
Hey, God, man. Yeah, you have De Jong in your starting lineup for them. I don't have him actually. Let me give you your lineup, and let me give you the lineup that I think they will go with, and then you will tell me who you will take out for De Jong. Then I do not know who they will play at right back. I have absolutely no idea. But obviously, Lee Langefeld will start in goal. Makanya and Sibia will be their center backs, and then Basadin will be the left back. The six Yabona will be Mtetwa, who's been brilliant throughout the season. The eight Yabona Itlaba Adams, Lejaba, and then their forwards will be Titus, Mendieta, as well as Reyners, I think. So who do you take out, Wena, since you have, who's this guy? De Jong starting.
In the midfield, you said you'll have who? They will have who?
Mtetwa and then Jabale Adams.
Up front,
Titus Reyners Mendiet.
I think Titus, I think KNL he'll be on the bench and De Jong will start ahead of him.
He's in such great form, Rabs. And another thing is, this game suits him more than it suits De Jong, because, like we said, they will try and get behind us, and that boy can run for days. But yeah, we'll see. My money is on Titus starting. Your money is on De Jong. If one starts and the other doesn't start, yeah, you'll owe me $100, and yeah, if I'm wrong, I owe you $100. Let's move on to Sundowns, man. What do you think our approach will be for this match?
I think obviously Sandals, their approach doesn't change in a broad way. I think you spoke about Stellenbosch pressing too high. And when a team presses too high, that means the gap between the middle field and the offense is too close, but the gap between the defense and the middle field is too big because of the press starts from offensive players and the middle field players. So I think for Sandals, they will always look for that space between the middle field and the defense where they want to utilize that space. And also because of they play a three-man middle field, and we spoke about the pitch size. So I think Mamelodi Sanders will want to create spaces through the movement and through the passing angles where we are able to move them where we want them to be, so that our 10s or our 8 will be able to occupy that space. And I think in this game, a guy like Williams will play a huge role in terms of being sweeper in most cases when they try to look for that space behind our defense, because of sometimes they don't penetrate through the middle. They look for the space behind the defense, and once your defense is caught sleeping, I think your goalkeeper has to step in and play a huge role. And I think we should match them with the intensity in the middle field, because of I spoke about them being energetic in the middle field, and that means they will play with intensity. So Lorena Sundowns, you should be able to match their intensity, because of if you fail to match that intensity, or you match their energy in the middle field, that means in most cases where there's 50-50, you'll always be late, and also they'll always get the best in terms of uh, making you to defend facing your own goals, because of they are always on the ball, and they arrive first on the ball, and they are quicker in terms of pressing you and forcing you to play those back passes. So I think Lorena, we should try to match their intensity in the middle field.
Great points, Abs. Like we've said throughout the preview, we need to start at a very high intensity, man, in this game. Don't wait for them. Don't wait to concede. Don't let them start well and build up confidence. You know, like start high, get a goal, kill their confidence. Like you raised the point, yeah. The forwards, someone like how high they press. I mean, it starts with the three forwards, and then their midfield moves Leona to press. Ne? I think we should move the ball around at the back, suck them in, take risk, set the trap, take risks. Ne? And then once we've sucked them in, there'll be a huge gap, like you said, between their midfield and the defense. Zwane can take that space and move forward with the ball. Because in most cases, you find that it's Mtetwa and maybe the two center backs and Basadine who are left defending, because Van Rooyen in most cases would have gone up. So there's a lot of room in the middle field. Then there's a boy that plays center back, Makanya. Makanya, I think, is a great prospect. I think he'll be a brilliant center back. Then, but one of his weaknesses, a major one at that, is that I think it's not being aware of his surroundings most of the time. He's considered 2 penalties in the last, I think, 5 games. Similar penalties, very similar penalties. The penalty that he considered against TS Galaxy, the penalty that he considered against Kaizer Chiefs. Players coming from behind and him trying to clear the ball, and he'd kick those players. So I think our players need to trap him into such situations, and maybe Lorena, we can be lucky and get a penalty like a certain team has been getting them this season. Yeah, I think we might need to defend a bit deeper so that we don't allow them room to run behind us. But if we don't, and we still think we need to defend from high up, because defending from high up, it helps the counter pressing. We need to make sure that the men on the ball, we squeeze him as soon as we lose the ball, we squeeze the man on the ball so that he doesn't have a chance to play that ball our defense. Starting lineups, who's going first?
I'll go first. Yeah, I think I'll start Ronwen in this game. I'll start Morena, Vala, and Grant Kekana, and also Le Maposa. Then in the middle field, I'll bring back Debza with Nkulisi and Alende. Then up front, I'll have Msheshe, Mailula, and Shalulile.
I have a similar lineup with you, just 2 different players. After the way your homeboy played on Tuesday, man, you benching him. He was involved in everything good that we did. He winning the ball back. Master Chef, he was there. Creating, he was there. Progressing with the ball, he was there. Scoring, he got the goal. Like, I just don't see Sipho Mbule being benched in this game. Sipho was brilliant, man, on Tuesday. But hey, that's for Coach Wilani to decide. I have Williams, I have Mudau, I have Kekana Mvala Mudiba, I have Mawere at 6, and Alende and Master Chef as the 8 Zarona, Zwane at the tip of the diamond, Shalulile and Mailula. Predictions?
I think we'll win the game on penalties, but in the 90 minutes it will end 2-2.
That's the same prediction as as, as mine actually. Like to the T, like the game ending in 2-2, as well as winning it on penalties. That's my prediction. Um, yeah, that's how I think it will go as well, perhaps. Perhaps there's an unknown player, Rona. He's on loan for Chipa United. He's had a great season, man. Last season we were calling him names when he was at Tugs. We couldn't believe he's a Sundowns loanee. Here I'm talking about God's power. Igodaru, who scored 9 goals in 21 Premier League games. Do we recall this guy at the end of the season?
I think it will be a tough decision for the technical team, but scoring 9 goals for cheaper, the team that has been struggling and the team that doesn't have the type of squad that Sundowns has, I think it is very impressive from Igadaro, but sometimes we find out what he brings go cheaper. It will be the same that he brings to Sundowns. So sometimes the player will look good in a certain team, but once he joins a certain team, it becomes a different. It's either it works for him or it doesn't work for him. But sometimes it's worth the risk because of he has shown that and he has proven that he can score. So for the technical team, I think it will be a tough decision to make, but I won't be surprised if they bring him to join the team. But it will be very tough because of we still have Mailula and Shalulile and Abubakar can play up front. Le Domingo then can play up front for us. And yeah, I know it will be tough, but with Mutupa not featuring much, I think it will make sense for them to bring Igadaro for that spot, yeah, Mutupa, and he will compete with the other guys.
That's where I was gonna go with this. I think we're going to get rid of Gift, ne? And I think that boy will come and replace him. Ne? Another factor that you need to take into consideration is that next season we are playing an extra tournament. We are playing the MTN 8, the DSTV Premiership, the Nedbank Cup, and 2 continental competitions in the Champions League and the Super League. So we're going to need a good and maybe a huge squad for next season. So yeah, no, man, 21 goals, 9 goals in 21 goals. It's not bad at all. I wouldn't mind giving this guy a chance, man. Like, yeah, Masana, that's it. That's another installment of the Yellow Corner. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Let's talk about Igador. What are your thoughts, guys? Should we bring him back next season? If yes, why? If no, why? Why shouldn't we? And yeah, thank you for watching. Next time you see us, will be on Monday when we bring you the preview of our home match against the Natal Rich Boys. Until then, shap shap Masandawana, shap shap Mbolish.
Shop, shop, asana wana shosho hizo.